The day I first returned to my grandfather's land after his passing, I expected a flood of memories, maybe even a few tears, but what I didn't expect was to feel like a trespasser on property that had been in my family for generations. From the dirt road leading up to the house, I could already tell something was off. The windows, once covered with my grandfather's old curtains, now had blinds I had never seen before. The front porch had new furniture, bright plastic chairs that looked like they came straight from a discount store. Even the mailbox had been replaced. My grandfather had kept the old rusted metal one with his name carefully painted across it in his neat, old-fashioned handwriting. Now, the name was gone, and in its place was a generic black box with shiny numbers screwed into it. That was the first punch to the gut. By the time I parked my car and walked up the drive, I already felt the knot forming in my stomach. When I pulled my keys from my pocket and slid one into the front door lock, it wouldn't turn. At first, I thought maybe I was just rusty. I jiggled it, tried again, even wiped the key against my jeans and checked to make sure I hadn't grabbed the wrong one. No. It was the right key. But the lock had been changed. Confusion gave way to dread. I stepped back, staring at the door like it had betrayed me. And then I heard it, the voice that would come to define the nightmare I was about to step into. "Excuse me? Can I help you?" I turned, and there she was. Late 50s maybe, overly sprayed blonde hair, sunglasses perched on her head like a crown, and a clipboard tucked under one arm as if she were conducting business. She looked at me like I was some stranger who had just wandered onto her property. "This is my house," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Your house?" She laughed, actually laughed, like I just told her the punchline to a joke. "No, sweetheart. This property was abandoned months ago. According to community bylaws, it reverted back to HOA control." My mind scrambled. HOA? My grandfather's land had never been part of any homeowners association. It was rural, several acres wide, handed down through generations, the kind of land where my grandfather raised chickens and grew vegetables, far away from the neatly trimmed lawns and gated communities where HOA presidents strutted around with clipboards. "There is no HOA here," I said firmly. "This land belonged to my grandfather. He left it to me." "No, no, no," she said, wagging her finger at me as if I were a child. "The community can't afford to have abandoned property just sitting here. It lowers values for everyone. We took action. I had the locks changed last week." Her tone was smug, like she thought she was the law itself. She shifted her clipboard into her hands and held it out, flipping a few pages until she found what she wanted me to see. A stack of papers, printed in Comic Sans of all fonts, with the words HOA bylaws across the top. I scanned T. When the day finally came to flip the script on Karen, I had everything in order. For weeks I had played the part of the clueless heir, the one who had supposedly abandoned his inheritance, while quietly putting together a case that no one could dismiss. Every picture I took, every recording I saved, every copy of documents I organized became part of a stack so thick it could crush her fake HOA bylaws under its weight. The moment she put that for sale sign in the yard of my grandfather's house, she stopped being just an annoyance and crossed into felony territory. Real estate fraud. Attempted theft of property. Bribery of a county official. The kind of things that don't just get you fined, they put you behind bars. I walked into the county clerk's office with my binder full of evidence and asked to speak with someone from legal affairs. The moment I laid out the deed and the court order naming me as the rightful heir, the clerk's expression changed. I added in the photos of Karen's new locks, her tacky furniture inside the house, and the audio recording of her trying to bribe the same clerk into falsifying the records. The clerk leaned back in his chair, blew out a breath, and said, "You might want to talk to the sheriff about this." That was exactly what I wanted to hear. Within hours I was in the sheriff's office, sitting across from a deputy who had dealt with Karen before. When I said her name, his eyebrows shot up. "Her again," he muttered under his breath. That told me everything I needed to know. Apparently, this wasn't her first rodeo. She had pulled smaller stunts before, harassing neighbors, slapping bogus fines on people, threatening to tow cars from driveways that weren't hers to regulate. But this time, she had gone too far. This wasn't just harassment. This was criminal. The deputy listened patiently as I laid out the evidence. When I played the recording of her offering the bribe, he actually chuckled in disbelief. "She really said that out loud?" he asked. "She really did," I confirmed. By the end of my presentation, the deputy was nodding along. He told me they'd be in touch soon. And true to his word, it didn't take long. Just 2 days later, I got the call. They had enough to move forward. I was asked to meet them at the property, the place that had once been my grandfather's and would soon be mine again. When I pulled up, 2 sheriff's cars were already parked at the edge of the driveway. Karen was on the porch, wineglass in hand, acting like queen of the world. The moment she saw me, her smug smile spread across her face, as if she thought I had come crawling back to beg for mercy. But then the deputies stepped out of their vehicles, and her smile faltered. "Ma'am," one of them called out as they approached the porch, "we need to speak with you." She laughed nervously. "Oh, thank goodness you're here. This man keeps trespassing on community property. I've been trying to get him removed for weeks." Her voice was laced. "Why?